Okay, we're back to talk about episode 7 of Bel-Air. Now, I have coined this episode the couple episode, because pretty much this is pretty much what was going on. The majority of the scenes is Viv and Phil went on a retreat to Mexico. Not a retreat, but they went on a resort to Mexico. You know, Will and Carlton had thing going on, Jeffrey and Penelope. So, but we're going to go and jump into Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil at this Mexican resort. So, they went there with LaMarcus's parents, and it was beautiful too. You know, I'm a little scared to go to Mexico because I keep hearing about, like, I don't know, a bunch of different stuff, but it looked nice. So they bump into this other couple that they know, the freak couple. We're going to call them the freak couple, all right? So there's a point where the guys go their separate route, the girls go their separate route. And so the husbands are talking, and the husband from the freak couple was basically saying that him and his wife have an open marriage. Actually, I think the wife disclosed that first when the girls were talking. But anyway, they're into all this, like, I guess what you would consider kinky stuff. And he brings up that he has been using Viagra since he was in his 30s. Now, I'm sorry, but isn't that a little too young to be using Viagra? Can someone school me on that? Like, you was in your 30s popping a little blue pill, and these guys, they're only like maybe in their late 40s. Like, I don't know. Maybe you can get ED at any age. Like I said, I'm not too educated on that, but I was like, dang, dude. So he's basically like, yeah, me and my wife, we into all kinds of stuff. And we shoot back to the girls with Viv, and they pretty much encourage her. They're in the part of the resort where it's like nudity. Like, you see a bunch of topless women. They saw some dude coming out the pool with his booty out. So they take their tops off, and surprisingly, Aunt Viv takes hers off too. We see another part of Aunt Viv, because up until this season, she's been, I guess you would say, a little stressed, a little overwhelmed with things going on with her painting and Carlton and Uncle Phil and his secrets with him and Erica. So she's really letting herself loose on this episode, right? So, and while I was watching this, I was like, oh my God, please don't have Phil and Vivian swing, right? So they're walking to the hotel room or whatever, the resort room, and they went in there with the swinger couple, and I was like, OG Viv and Phil would never. Okay, now I'm not trying to kink shame. I know everybody gets their rocks off different ways. I'm just saying. All right, like, no, don't do that. But they ended up not doing it. I don't know how far they went, but they did get their freak on the balcony. Like, I guess sometimes when you're in a relationship, you do need to try new things. It doesn't necessarily have to be bringing in other partners, but if you got to get bent over a balcony, you know, that might work. That might help. So I guess it's safe to say that Phil and Vivian are on the up and up. They pretty much, I think, made up last episode. So before Phil and Vivian left to go on a retreat, Omar, the developer, comes up and says that the demonstrators have chained themselves, like, to the equipment, and they can't, you know, go through with this project. So Philip pretty much gets him arrested. He didn't want to, but you have to remember, since he cut Erica off, this is his only client. So he's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place, because Jazz is a family friend, but this is how he's making his money. This is his only client right now. So he pretty much has to do whatever he can to make this dude happy. So after that happens, then we go to Jazz and his, the protesters and stuff. They're meeting up at his vinyl shop, right? And they're discussing what happened with Phil, you know, I guess getting the people arrested or whatever. Will ends up being there. He comes right before the meeting starts. And this is crazy, because that council lady, the one with the braids, she gonna tell everybody in the audience I said audience. Well, everybody at the meeting that Phil is his uncle. And I just felt like that was messed up. Like, why are you putting him on a spot like that, making him out to be like an enemy, right? So Jazz talks Will into leaving because he's like, look, I don't want you to be a part of what we got planned, right? So I think I'm going to come back to that. Because I could say what goes on with that, but I'm going to come back to that. You know, when it comes to this whole situation with Jazz and his people chaining themselves and protesting and things, I feel like you have to do that sometimes because no shade to developers and all that, but it's like when you're going to a city and you're just totally killing the culture, killing the character, placing it with a bunch of, you know, bland looking luxury quote unquote apartments and Starbucks and Whole Foods. It's like you look out the window and you just see a bunch of buildings. There's no trees anymore. You wonder why deer are getting hit every time you drive, or damn near every time you drive, because they don't have any habitat because trees are being cut down. I mean, this is a real issue. I understand this is a show, but this is happening all over the United States. It's just, we're going to look up and just see nothing but buildings. And wildlife is just going to be gone except for, like, you know, the state parks that they have in like Wyoming and Smoky Mountains and stuff like that, areas that are protected. But other than that, it's like something's got to be done. So I can't say I would do it because I don't know if I could. I don't know how far I would go. You get what I'm saying? But I have no issue with people that feel like they have to do the extreme to protect their communities, right? So like I said, we're gonna come back to Jazz. So we're gonna go into this couples date thing that Will and Carlton got going on. So they convinced Jeffrey to take Penelope, his son's mother, out somewhere, and so they can have the place to themselves. They didn't tell them they wanted to, you know, have company, but they just said, hey, you know, go to this Jamaica spot and all that. So Lisa and Amira show up. Then homeboy from the place they worked at, country club, he shows up with Jackie. Now he was supposed to bring another girl, but he was like, well, me and Jackie got off at the same time, so I figured, you know, I can scoop her up, we can all hang out and chill. Which I knew that was gonna be an issue because I don't know what Amira's problem is, but she has an issue with Jackie, and it's like, Amira, you still new here. We don't even know you. And I'm going to get on the mirror in a minute, but it's like, you got all this heat. I don't know, girl. Anyway, so they get to having this game, this like tell the truth game. Well, I don't know why people play that. Those hardly ever end well. But anyway, we find out, well, not we, but they, Lisa in particular, finds out that Will and Jackie did have sex once upon a time. The whole crew finds out that Carlton lost his virginity to Lisa, which I forgot about that part. I knew that him and Lisa were like talking or going together, but I was like, yeah, that is kind of crazy. And then I think his name was Zaire. He was like, what? He said, aren't y'all cousins? And it's like, dang, you know, Lisa, you do look kind of, well, I can't just put it on her. Will too. You know, that was your cousin's girlfriend first. So, yeah, it does look kind of funky. And so they find out that, and it just puts a damper on the mood. So after a while, Zaire and Jackie head out. So I forgot what led up to this Amira being a liar again. But some kind of way, Amira and Lisa end up in the bathroom. And she was looking for some lotion. And Amira's like, it's in my bag. And she pulls out this vial of Coke, right? So Amira gets the... I was watching this scene and I was like, okay, what's she gonna say? She gonna tell Lisa the same exact thing. Well, today is the anniversary of my sister dying. I'm just going through it. Now, if you've never dealt with somebody on drugs, one thing they do a lot of is lying. That's just, they lie a lot. to the point where you can't even keep your lies straight. Like, you're telling Lisa today is the anniversary of your sister dying. You told Carlton that same thing a few days, a week ago, however long ago it was. And my thing is, do you not think Lisa's going to talk to Carlton about that, or vice versa? Even though she told Lisa, don't tell Carlton, he gets his strength from me, blah 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 blah. You're gonna get found out, and I hope Carlton doesn't relapse, because I don't know if he's ignoring the red flags with this girl or what. To me, he's not asking enough questions about her. Like the whole sister thing, I would have been like, okay, well, where is she buried? She says she died today. What did she die of? Like, you need to probe all that. But I guess it's easier saying that because as the audience, we know what's going on, whereas the character doesn't. We definitely know she's a liar now. And it's funny because when I was on Twitter, people were like, this was before episode 7 and 8 dropped. They were like, man, she probably don't even have a sister. And I'm thinking she might not. Or the sister, she has a sister, but she's not dead. Now, that's the worst, one of the worst things you could do is to lie on a relative saying they died when they didn't. Like, don't speak that over people. You know what I'm saying? Especially people that you so-called care about. So she's a liar, and I can't wait until she's busted. I just hope Carlton doesn't relapse, all right? So, Jeffrey and Penelope scene was so cute. They're playing darts, this nice little Jamaican club and everything. So as I watched it a second time, the guy that he ran into her and gonna say, hey, watch where you going, trying to make a scene. So I think Jeffrey was about to handle him on the floor, but Penelope stopped it, right? So Jeffrey goes in the bathroom later on, dude goes in there talking ish. Now this part, I loved it because it was so smooth. Jeffrey, he's facing the door because he was on his way out. He locks that mug, turn around, and like karate chop dude right in the damn Adam's apple. Pushed him down in the stall and closed it. I said, man, if that ain't some smooth James Bond type stuff, like that's one of the things I love about his character is he's such a classy guy, but he's gangster at the same time. Like he's one of them people I feel like can be in any kind of space because he knows how to handle himself in all spaces. You see what I'm saying? I rewound that part like twice because that was so smooth. He said karate chop, bam, and that's what you get. Like sometimes you got to handle people like that. And they were dancing on the floor. I love that song that they played too. It reminded me of they had it playing in Shot Us, and that was a cute scene. So I wonder what's going to go on between him and Penelope because that's his son's mother. They've been apart for 2 decades or so. I mean, he's been in America for a while, so we'll see how they reconnect because as of now, she still lives in London. She was there because of their son. So we get to Jazz. So one of the last few scenes, Jazz and his crew vandalizing the job site of where Omar's trying to build that little plaza, right? Now their plan was just bust out some windows, spray paint some stuff, little things like that. This one guy decides to commit arson and set the damn trailer thing on fire. And it's like, I'm not good. I don't know a whole bunch of laws and everything, but I'm pretty sure arson probably carries a bigger punishment than like spray painting or breaking out some glass. You know what I mean? So I hope Jazz doesn't go down because we know this is his shot. We know he's not selling. Also, before I go, Will briefly tried to have a discussion with Omar, and Omar hit him with some, well, when you came out here from Philly, didn't you leave other people behind? But you came out here to get a better start, blah, 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 blah. Dude, you're doing this for money. You don't care about nobody, anyone that lives in that neighborhood. You don't care about Jazz and his family history of the vinyl shop. You just thinking about money. Like, shut up with all that. This is going to help our community crap. Anyways, this was a great episode. And can I shout out the other character in this episode? Honey kissed brown skin. If you look at the scenes where Will and Carlton were at the pool, and also the scenes when Viv and Uncle Phil were out at the resort, just beautiful sun-kissed bronze skin. That, shout out to the director, whoever is in charge of that, makeup, whatever. I loved it. All right, shout out to my 77 subscribers. Shout out to the rest of you as well. Hit that like and comment. Let's talk about this episode. I'm excited about episode 8. I'm about to watch that right now. I may or may not drop a review tonight about that. I might do it tomorrow. We'll see. All right. Peace and blessings to you all. Until next time.